9 debt payoff mistakes that cost people years. What if I told you that most people do not stay in debt because they do not make enough money? They stay in debt as they are making a few critical mistakes they do not even realize they are making. And these mistakes are not small. They can add months, or even years, to your debt payoff journey. Imagine working hard, making payments every month, sacrificing vacations, skipping nights out, and still watching your debt barely move. That is exactly what happens when these debt payoff mistakes quietly drain your progress behind the scenes. Today, we are breaking down the 9 biggest debt payoff mistakes that keep people trapped in debt longer than necessary. More importantly, how you can avoid them. If you are serious about becoming debt-free faster, stay until the end, because mistake number 1 is something almost everyone does. Let us get started. Mistake 1. Only making the minimum payment. This is the most common debt trap in the world. Credit card companies love minimum payments because they keep you in debt for as long as possible. Let us say you have a $10,000 credit card balance with a high interest rate. Your minimum payment might only be around $200. Sounds manageable, right? The problem is that a huge portion of that payment goes toward interest, not the actual balance. As a result, your debt shrinks painfully slowly. Many people do not realize that making only minimum payments can turn a debt that could be paid off in a few years into a decade-long burden. If you want to accelerate your payoff timeline, always pay more than the minimum whenever possible. Even an extra $50 or $100 each month can dramatically reduce the amount of interest you pay over time. Mistake 2. Ignoring high interest rate debt. Not all debt is created equal. A mortgage at 4% interest is very different from a credit card charging 28%. Yet many people spread their extra payments evenly across all debts. That feels fair, but it is not efficient. Every month, high-interest debt remains unpaid. It grows faster than lower-interest balances. This is why many financial experts recommend the debt avalanche method. With this strategy, you make minimum payments on all debts and throw every extra dollar at the debt with the highest interest rate. Once it is gone, move to the next highest. This approach saves the most money and often gets you debt-free faster. The longer you ignore high-interest debt, the more money you are handing over to lenders. Mistake 3. Not having an emergency fund. This mistake creates one of the most frustrating cycles in personal finance. You start paying off debt. Things are going great. Then your car breaks down. Your dog needs emergency surgery. Your water heater dies. Suddenly, you are reaching for your credit card again. And just like that, the debt starts growing. Many people focus so intensely on debt payoff that they forget to build a financial safety net. Even a small emergency fund can make a huge difference. You do not need $20,000 sitting in the bank. Start with a goal of $500 to $1,000. That small cushion can prevent unexpected expenses from sending you right back into debt. Remember, debt payoff is not just about moving forward. It is also about preventing yourself from sliding backward. Mistake 4. Continuing lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation is sneaky. You get a raise. You upgrade your car. You move into a more expensive apartment. You start eating out more often. You subscribe to more services. Before you know it, your higher income disappears. Many people increase spending every time their income rises. As a result, they never free up meaningful cash to attack their debt. The wealthy often use raises differently. Instead of spending all of the increase, they direct a large portion toward savings, investments, or debt reduction. Imagine receiving a $500 monthly raise and putting $400 of it toward debt. That single decision could shave years off your repayment timeline. Every raise is an opportunity. Do not let lifestyle inflation steal it from you. Before we continue, if you are finding value in this video and want more practical strategies for getting out of debt, building wealth, and taking control of your finances, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps more people discover these videos, and it lets me know you would like more content like this. Now let us get into the mistakes that can quietly sabotage even the most motivated debt payoff plan. Mistake 5. Not tracking your spending. Many people know exactly how much debt they have, but they have no idea where their money goes each month. That is a dangerous combination. You cannot fix what you do not measure. If you are spending $150 on food delivery, $200 on impulse purchases, and $100 on subscriptions you barely use, that is money that could be accelerating your debt payoff. Tracking spending is not about guilt. It is about awareness. When you understand where every dollar goes, you gain the power to redirect money toward your financial goals. Many people discover hundreds of dollars in monthly spending leaks simply by reviewing their bank statements. That money can become a powerful debt destruction tool. Mistake 6. Chasing debt consolidation without fixing habits. Debt consolidation can be helpful, but it is not magic. Many people take out a consolidation loan, pay off their credit cards, feel relieved, and then start using the cards again. Now they have the consolidation loan and a new credit card debt. This mistake can leave people in a worse position than where they started. The real issue is not the debt itself. It is the behavior that created it. Overspending, impulse purchases, lack of budgeting, emotional spending. Without addressing those habits, debt consolidation simply rearranges the problem. As numbers change, the behavior does not, and eventually the debt returns. Always focus on solving the root cause, not just the symptom. Mistake 7. Trying to pay off debt without increasing income. Cutting expenses is important, but there is a limit. You can only cut so much. You can cancel subscriptions, cook at home, reduce entertainment spending, but eventually you hit a wall. Income, however, has much greater upside potential. One of the fastest ways to accelerate debt payoff is increasing your earnings. That could mean working overtime, freelancing, driving for a delivery service, starting a side hustle, selling unused items, taking on consulting work, asking for a raise, finding a higher-paying position. An extra $500 a month toward debt equals $6,000 per year. An extra $1,000 a month equals $12,000 per year. That is the kind of progress that changes timelines dramatically. Sometimes the fastest path out of debt is not spending less. It is earning more. Mistake 8. Letting emotions control financial decisions. Money is emotional. That is why debt can be so difficult to eliminate. People often spend because they are stressed, because they are bored, because they are celebrating, because they are trying to feel better. Unfortunately, emotional spending often creates temporary relief and long-term regret. One purchase does not seem like a big deal. Repeated emotional spending can quietly add thousands of dollars to your debt. The key is recognizing your triggers. Do you shop when you are anxious? Do you buy things when you are unhappy? Do you reward yourself with purchases after a difficult day? Understanding these patterns can help you replace expensive habits with healthier alternatives. Debt freedom requires emotional discipline as much as financial discipline. Mistake 9. Losing motivation before the finish line. This final mistake may be the most expensive of all. Many people start strong. They are excited, focused, determined. They make extra payments, track every dollar, stick to a budget. But after a few months, the excitement fades, progress feels slow, life gets busy, motivation disappears, and eventually they stop. The reality is that debt payoff is rarely exciting. It is repetitive. It is sometimes boring, and it often takes longer than you would like. That is why successful people rely on systems rather than motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Systems stay. Set automatic payments. Create automatic transfers. Track milestones. Celebrate progress. Focus on consistency. Remember, becoming debt-free is not about making perfect decisions every day. It is about making enough good decisions long enough for the math to work in your favor. The people who win are not always the most disciplined. They are often the most persistent. Conclusion. Let us quickly recap the 9 debt payoff mistakes that cost people years. Number 1. Only making minimum payments. Number 2. ignoring high-interest debt. Number 3, skipping an emergency fund. Number 4, falling victim to lifestyle inflation. Number 5, not tracking spending. Number 6, relying on debt consolidation without changing habits. Number 7, failing to increase income. Number 8, emotional spending. And number 9, losing motivation before reaching the finish line. The good news: every one of these mistakes is fixable. You do not need a perfect income. You do not need to win the lottery. You do not need some secret financial hack. You simply need to avoid the traps that keep millions of people stuck. Small changes made consistently can create extraordinary results over time. Debt freedom is not reserved for a lucky few. It is available to anyone willing to stay focused, stay patient, and keep moving forward. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss future videos on debt payoff, budgeting, investing, and building long-term wealth. And I would love to hear from you. Which of these debt payoff mistakes have you made, and which one are you working on fixing right now? Leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.